So, last week, I had a look at a couple of games that Dark had recently played against a Zerg player from Brazil called Erik. And let's just say that Erik decided to go for some very spicy build orders. I mean, this already over here is, I think, a 14 hatch first? We're doing extractor tricks, this is strange. Spotting right here in the top left-hand corner of Neo Humanity, playing with the blue Zerg drones, we once more have Erik. I want to see what he does against Terran, this time around in the opposite corner with the red Terran SCVs. We have the most creative Terran in the world, and his nickname is GuMiho. And GuMiho, actually, okay, decides to start off this particular series with a bang. We've got a triple Rex proxied right here at the Northern Watchtower. But what in the world's Sorry, I'm gonna have to back up already. What in the world is this build right here from Erik? So, okay, it's a 15 out of 14 hatch, so an extractor trick right here to get that hatchery out. Then another extractor trick to get the spawning pool out. And then eventually an overlord and another extractor trick after a drone. Okay, classic Erik. I don't know, the man seems to be very fond of making extractors and then cancelling them just to get one additional supply. I have no idea how something like this lines up against something like that. Because we've got 3 barracks on the other side of the map. Gumi is not likely going to care too much about what the Zerg player is doing here, because he's already committed to his build. It's not like he's going to go back home and then, you know, decide to play macro from here. He definitely needs to deal a significant amount of damage here. I don't know how this lines up. What exactly is the plan right now though for Erik? What are we doing? We're making a bunch of Zerglings, fair enough. This pool is obviously quicker than what we normally see with a hatch into a gas geyser and then eventually a spawning pool. Okay, we're gonna go for a roach warren and a gas geyser at the same time. Normally if it's a roach push, the roaches would be out a little bit quicker. But I guess this is a slightly more economically focused version of a roach attack. He doesn't find out until, well, right about right now exactly what he's playing against. But these Zerglings here that were blindly produced, they're already getting quite a bit of damage done. The problem is these bunkers, right? So how in the world are you gonna shut down bunkers with slow Zerglings and queens? It's just not a very good option. We only have a single gas geyser, so it's not like Erik can really start producing a ton of roaches and then turn them into ravagers either. There's no link speed or anything. I'm already once again with my hands in my hair. I'm not entirely sure how this plays out. I'm inclined to imagine though that this is okay here for the Zerg. I mean, he really needs to power out some roaches. Okay, yeah, they start up right now. But Marines obviously have a really hard time fighting roaches in a straight up battle, especially when there's no medevacs or marauders or stimpack or combat shields or anything like that to support it. SCV Scout tries to get into the main base to figure out what's happening there. Obviously, you want to know, should I continue making Marines here as the Terran player, or am I just about to get overwhelmed? Well, a couple of those links are thinking about getting the wraparound, but good micro right there by the Korean Terran, getting a good amount of value in. But now those, those Marines are pretty far away from home. They're all going to end up going down. I don't think Gumi was really going to be able to get the base here anyways, so I guess he just settled on getting the queens and some good value out of the Marine. I mean, if we can get the hatchery, that would be amazing. But right now, the roach production has started up properly, so I just don't see how this is going to work out. Did they just... Oh, they must have fired at the little cocoon when it wandered... Or sorry, the little larva here when it wandered a little further forward. Okay. So, when do you start leaving this position as Terran, right? How do you decide, okay, it's time for me to fly those structures back home? Because there's a very good chance, yeah, that there will be a counterattack from the Zerg. And obviously, if you're flying the barracks back home, you can't actually produce anything out of them. So, right from the start, this best of 3 series is very awkward. We still have a lot of Marines over here. Yeah, the roaches are a little scared. They're actually going to be going back home. This is clever movement right here by GuMiho. He's gonna sacrifice another group of Marines, but at the very least it's gonna keep him safe against those roaches on his side of the map. And honestly, maybe these Marines can get a substantial amount of damage done. I mean, roaches obviously without speed, Zerglings without speed, they're not really gonna be that powerful. The drones decide to stack up together and they're gonna start mining in the natural, but already for the last, I don't know, like 20, 30 seconds, Zerg hasn't been mining at all. Okay, so that bought a lot of time, but did we really solve the issue? Well, in the meantime, we did make a factory. There's already a set of bunkers over here as well. Command center coming up right now as well, too. Okay, so... As well, too? Nice. We're gonna go straight into a tech lab. If GuMiho can get a siege tank out, he's gonna be in a good spot. The problem is getting that siege tank out. Most Zerg players at this point would probably be droning up, but not Erik. Instead, he's made a second gas over here. He's gone for link speed. That's going to finish up momentarily. Yeah, he's gonna make a lot of links, and, well, if you're stacking up this much gas, I can imagine you're gonna start up a couple of Ravagers, too. They may very well intercept those Marines. That would be fantastic. Oh my god, if you can kill all of these Marines as well, that would be really nice. Okay, good control right there by the Zerg player. Lynx, get the wraparound. Lovely work right here by our Brazilian, and he gets all of those Marines. Okay, yeah, and now we have the big Ravager morph in. This is enough Ravagers to start biling down those supply depots with ease. Sadly, it looks like the Overlord that was over here ended up going down, so there's nothing really to provide easy high ground vision. Maybe more importantly right now as well, though, for GuMiho, he's got himself a siege tank done. So that siege tank is going to make this defense significantly easier. Okay, are we just going to go anyways? Yeah, they are in range, so there we go. That siege tank is going to go down. At the same time, the bunker also gets sniped. This is game. Wow. Erik ends up winning game 1 over GuMiho. That is not what I expected. Here we go. Game number 2. We find ourselves on Gresven. Erik finding himself with a 1-0 lead against a player who I would probably imagine is like... Don't want to be disrespectful, but probably like a 20-1 favorite, something like that. GuMiho really is amongst the very best Terrans in the world. Now Erik is finding himself in a pretty good spot. This time around, it is not an extractor trick here. Okay, so ever since I casted that series between Dark and Erik, I've been playing that Zerg versus Zerg build of his on my stream. So in game number 1 of that particular series, in case you haven't seen it yet, I'll go ahead and post a link to it down below in the description of this video. I highly recommend you go check it out after this particular video. Either way, in game number 1, he goes for a very interesting build, where he goes for a hatchery first, into a spawning pool, into a gas, and then into a second gas. So the second gas is weird. It allows you to go for the lair at the same time as metabolic boost, roughly. It then allows you to go for a spire with around the same time also a baneling nest going up. It's all really funky, and I don't believe it's actually that great of a strategy, but I have been winning the vast majority of my games. Which I guess is the main goal of a strategy, right? So I'm a little conflicted about the particular build, but it's been fun to give it a try for sure. Yeah, it's a fresh approach to playing any of these Zerg strategies. So what in the world are we doing, by the way? Quick gas into quick spawning pool, now into an 18 supply hatchery. Again, a little bit funky. He's leaving drones and gas as well, so this has to be either a roach warren or even a baneling nest on the back of this right now. I'm thinking baneling nest mostly because he's left 2 drones and gas out of the 3. Usually if you go for a roach push, you'll leave all the drones and gas, and if you go for a baneling nest, but maybe it's a lair? I don't know. It could be a variety of things. In the meantime, on the other side of the map, we've got a standard opener right here from Gumi. So it's a barracks into a command center on the low ground. Reaper is out at the conventional timing too. Let's see if this is gonna work out well right here for the Terran player. Because Erik is indeed gonna put all of his eggs in one basket. He is gonna try and go for a complete all-in. Lynx are gonna sneak. Yep, they're outside of the vision range right there. Erik seems to be well aware of when he can maneuver around the map with these units. I saw the same thing happening in that series against Dark, where he seems to be very on point with what the opponent should be seeing at that moment in the game. Link speed at this point is finished. It's just a snipe of... Oh, okay. So this is just wave 1. Okay. I actually thought we were going straight baneling nest, and we were like trying to hide a bunch of Zerglings over here on the other side of the map to morph them into Banes. It is 5 banelings to blow up a supply depot. I didn't think we actually had a double-faced attack right over here, I suppose. Anyways, Gumi wants to figure out what's happening. He will see the baneling nest right now, so that's a big scout. But the problem is the Banes are already here. They're already marching up the ramp. He's gonna go straight for the add-on. which not only just blows up the supply depots with the splash damage, but also the add-on itself. Massive supply block right now for GuMiho, who obviously was also forced to cancel his command center there, so he's not getting any supply off of that structure being done. Good crisis management here, though, by Gumi. The fact that he had just a little bit of time to prepare is huge. And this is obviously only really one base aggression. Nice lining up right there in between the structures, too. Did Erik drone up during all of that? Really? Hold up, I gotta go back again. These decisions are so weird to me. So, yeah. I guess he gets scouted? Is that the reason why he droned up? I don't actually know. So this is right before GuMiho scouts it. No, he's already droning blindly before that moment, so he was intending on droning up this entire time. Really? So I wonder if that's due to the forced cancel of the natural there? Anyways. If this would have been a link flood on the back of this, I think that Zerg had a chance of obtaining the victory right away. Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. So the strategies are very much so playing what is considered to be the established meta, right? So rather than playing the matchup, we're going against whatever the opponent is most likely playing at this point in the game, right? So if you sneak those links across, you can force the cancel on the CC. You know what they're going to be doing next. There's multiple layers to these threats, even though they are cheesy, right? And they are definitely, yeah, very aggressive. They can definitely obtain the victory accidentally, but they're also very smart. They're not like, not to say cannon rushes aren't necessarily very smart, okay? But there's more depth to it than just, I'm gonna send some Zerglings and Banelings across the map. Okay. Is this actually a good position, though, for Zerg? Because I am not convinced that it is. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad spot by any stretch of the imagination, but now we're playing a macro game. Now we're playing a macro game against Gumi. And the Gumi god, I mean, he's known for his creativity, but he's very good at playing macro as well. Third command center coming up on the back of this. I actually think that's a clever choice right here from GuMiho. GuMiho knowing very well that there's a good chance he's gonna lose even more SCVs moving forward, but if you can replace your SCVs with mules, life is pretty sweet as the Terran. Is he gonna be playing Battle Mech though, or is he gonna be playing Bio? I think those are the two options GuMiho will probably be opting for. It's the second tech lab, so I would imagine it's likely going to be Stimpack here as soon as he reaches the sufficient amount of minerals. There it is, yeah. So it's gonna be a good old Bio Terran here from Gumi. Gumi seems to be playing quite a bit of Bio lately. I wouldn't mind seeing the man go for some mech, because I think he's very good at it, but I would imagine that this is probably a little bit safer and just a little bit more conventional. And therefore, yeah, probably easier, right? So Gumi also probably not too familiar with Erik going into this series. I know Erik has been playing the game for a long time, but mostly focused on the Latin American scene. So maybe in game number 1, he's like, okay, I'm gonna give you a couple of units, see how you deal with it. But now in game 2, he definitely has to play a series, because otherwise it could be an embarrassing 2-0, right? This happens a lot when you play against the Koreans, so these Hellions are getting a good bit of damage done. Oh my god, Erik, watch out. That's gonna hurt. Yeah, nice aggression right here by GuMiho. This is quite common if you decide to sign up for any of the Open Cups, right? So for example, this particular series is from the ESL Open Cup 172, I want to say, so the one from last week. Either way, you can sign up for those, right? It's the Open Cup. Anybody can sign up. If you play against the Koreans in one of the earlier rounds of the tournament, the odds of them cheesing you in game number 1 if they don't recognize your name is, I would say, probably 90%. They play quite a few of these open tournaments, and they obviously, yeah, they do a little bit of a skill check in game number 1 to see if you can hold what is considered to be a conventional cheese. Many of the series that I think these guys play probably last like 6 minutes. Literally. They try to get the series over with really quick. And they don't really start playing macro games until later on, so maybe that's what happened there in game 1 of this match. It's not really a form of disrespect, it's just, you know, them trying to save themselves a bit of time. Anyways, Roach Warren coming up on the back of this right now. What in the world is this Roach Warren timing? Roach Warren together with +1 missile and +1 melee. This would be a good build against Protoss most of the time. Especially if there's like Bailing Speed on the back of this too. He didn't get Bailing Speed yet. I was actually forgetting that he already had a Bailing Nest. I was gonna say I haven't seen a Bailing Nest on the production tab. But that's because it got produced at like the 1 minute mark. So we're going Roaches with speed. Does Terran care though? So we already have the factory done, right? Did I see a second factory? Yeah. So we already have double factory production right here for GuMi, who probably should be going for Widow Mines here instead of whatever he's doing right now. Anyways, double factory is great, because as soon as he sees Roaches, he can switch over to a little bit of Siege Tank production, and Siege Tanks are phenomenal against both Roaches, as well as Ravagers, as well as Banelings, as well as Zerglings, which seems to be the unit comp that Erik is going for right now. At this point, though, I don't think Roaches have been spotted yet. Yeah, there's a couple of them hiding over here. A lot of these upgrades will finish up right around the same time-ish. So, if Erik just makes a very large amount of units, there is a chance he can catch GuMiho off guard with another timing attack. Yeah, 7 Overlords are coming up. I think the plan is simply to make a whole lot of stuff and then to try it at the opponent. Just try and throw it there, see what it does, and maybe win the game. Either that or he's panicking a little bit and he's stressed out. That could also be. This should be an easy hold, though. Considering, I mean, he's got so much money in the bank. Erik, hello. I think Erik is stressing out a bit. Yeah, if he would spend his money, this would be an easy hold. So now he finally spends at least some of it, but this is... Okay. Yeah, at the same time, there's the Banshees over here together with the Hellbats too. That was a lot of damage dealt. And the only reason why that damage was dealt, because Erik was, well, sitting at like 2,500 resources there. He's still sitting at nearly 2k. That is way more than we should see at this point in the match. Okay. This might be the moment where we have that skill difference, right? It's not that Erik is necessarily playing poorly as far as macro goes, it's just that, yeah, GuMiho is playing cleaner. And that's what a lot of StarCraft 2 is in the end. It is a strategy game, but it's a strategy game based on mechanics. Where speed and just keeping your money low and, well, being on top of everything is just the most important thing. That's also the one thing that I know a lot of people get a little bit bothered by, because, yeah, they're signing up to play a strategy game and then they find themselves... Okay, I think if this would have been the timing that Erik had anticipated, I think he would have gone for the +1/+1 Roach Speed, Bane Speed timing attack. He would have been able to actually catch his opponent off guard. At the very least, there was a good chance. Right now, GuMiho has a large amount of stuff at home. The bank, by the way, has been spent, but what goes from... Yeah, this used to be a timing attack, right? It's now considered to be an all-in here. Still a good amount of Zerg, though. This is also maybe a little bit confusing right here for GuMi, because GuMi's like, wait a second, you didn't have any units earlier. Where did all of this come from? Turns out all of those units were coming from the bank, but yeah. Even though the army from GuMiho isn't necessarily the most impressive, it's more than enough to push back the Zerg. Next up, we find ourselves on Babylon, and it looks like once more we started off with an extractor trick. I was just having a quick look at Erik's Liquipedia page just to see what I can find out. He's a Brazilian Zerg, born in 1996. Started playing StarCraft 2 in 2011 and got Grandmaster in 2014. He's playing for the Cranky Ducklings, which you may have already noticed. And he's done pretty well over the years in Latin America, yeah, taking down some good players. But generally it seems like he's been stopped by both Special as well as Calazur. Obviously Special and Calazur and Cham as well. They've been very strong in the Latin American region for many years. Cool to see, though. Yeah. There's really not that much information. Just that, well, his nickname is Erik, and that his real name is Erik. Unsurprisingly. It's not the most creative nickname, I suppose, right? I'd like to imagine that when Erik first booted up StarCraft 2 way back in the day, he was prompted with the login screen where you have to choose your nickname. And he's like, yo, my friends call me Erik. I guess my name is Erik. So he entered Erik. Nobody calls me Simon, okay? That's just weird. My mom calls me Simon. That's no. You know, that's wrong, man. Everybody calls me Lowko, but it'd be strange if my mom calls me Lowko, though. Now that I think of that, that would also be a little bit funky. Anyways, Babylon, what exactly have we gone for here? Once again, a bit of a strange opener, but nothing all too unorthodox. Roach Warren again. Yeah, I think this may be the same build as we saw in game 1. So we'll see how this plays out against a more standard opener right here from GuMi. GuMi going for the Reaper into the Marine. Lynx once again. I like these random little Zergling moves a lot. Yeah. I think this sort of openers can be halted pretty easily by the Terran. But in the current meta of the game, Terrans just, well, they will maybe go for one Marine, right? But that's it. Straight into a reactor over here. Factory on the back of it too. Maybe though on this particular map, those Zerglings are gonna arrive after the CC finishes? Maybe? I don't know. No. Kinda depends on where the SCV is located. This is really annoying for Terrans. I mean, it's not the end of the world. But it's not like Zerg is heavily committed into this early game either, right? Like, this is just a hatch into a pool build in the end. Maybe a bit of a different way to get there, but, yeah. Eventually, these Lings will go down, though. And that's the tricky part. But now, while that Reaper is distracted in the bottom left-hand corner, there's roaches already moving through the center of the map. I thought it was a random location where those Lynx were running to, but I don't think it was. Straight into a lair as well, and now double gas in a natural. Rather than focusing on the economy game, which is basically what every Zerg build is all about, it seems like Erik is playing the tech game, right? So rather than focusing his resources on trying to get as many workers as possible... Okay, that was a brilliant grenade right there from GuMi. Oh my god! He just booted the roaches. That was a Warcraft 3 surround that he created for himself by moving the opponent's units rather than his own. That's insane, actually, GuMi. Anyways, it got shut down pretty handily. I would really like to see some of the actual top-level Zergs executing builds like this, because it's a lot of fun to see. Again, not to disrespect Erik or whatever, but, you know, I'm sure he would agree that someone like Cyril would be a bit cleaner on the execution, both macro as well as micro-wise. Infestation Pit? Hold up, so what are we doing? Could be Swarm Host, could be Hive. Could be Infestors, but I'd be very surprised. Third hatchery goes down right now. What in the world is this Infestation Pit for? So we open up with a Roach push and then go for a 5-minute Hive? Is that what we're doing? That Roach push into 5-minute Hive would be mental. Well, no, it's just an Infestor? I mean, I don't know what you would make with the Hive anyways. Not sure exactly what the plan is. We're rushing out Infestors. Don't get me wrong, Infestors are really good, but like, are they that good? Burrow. Are we gonna go for the Burrow boys? I remember playing the Burrowed boys back in the day. So when it comes to Zerg units that can move underground... Okay, this is a GuMiho build as well. Normally I'm talking and I'm fanboying over GuMiho strategies, but apparently GuMiho has to take the back seat today. Infestation Pit gets scouted. That's a bit funky. What does Terran make it is? I don't know. Anyways, I remember playing the Burrowed boys. Swarm Host! We are going Swarm Host. What? Is that a misclick? Wait, Roach? We have like 6 roaches in... Anyways, when it comes to units that can burrow on the ground, we have the Infestor and the Roach. I had a strategy that I called the Burrowed boys. It wasn't very good. But it was fun, because, you know, we had the burrowed boys. Now double Evo? We're still only at 46 drones, though. I feel like normally at this point in the game, you're supposed to be sitting at about 75 drones as Zerg. So this is a good scan over here. He sees the infestors, he sees the swarm hosts. We don't normally play swarm hosts as Zerg against bio Terrans, because Marines are really good units at, well, killing the locusts before they land. I love the fact that GuMiho is looking at this once, he's looking at it twice, he's like, wait a second, I'm just gonna go for my normal attack. Here's the swarm host, though. Swarm host rush against Terran. But before he really rushed them out, he decided to go for a couple infestors. This third base is super dead. 7 drones have gone down already. That matter of fact, drop in the main base actually being quite annoying. There is a supply advantage right now here for the Zerg. Are we gonna burrow the swarm host? Is that why we got burrow? Really? That's why we got burrow? I can't even figure out if this is a build order or if it's just Erik throwing stuff at a wall and hoping something sticks. One missile turret right over here would probably detect all of it. I think if you just play a normal game from here as Terran, you'll probably feel pretty good. Yeah, so it's just Stimpak, combat shields, +1/+1. Marine Marauder. Okay, yeah, this swarm host over here decides to get out of here. I guess the idea is to try and maximize the damage that the siege tanks deal to friendlies. I'm gonna have to see something like this multiple times before I can give you a proper analysis of it. This kind of feels like a viewer-submitted game. But then, you know, between 2 grandmasters. This does show you, though, man, that even though StarCraft 2 at this point is 13 years old, I really do believe there's still some unexplored, Nice, Lowko. Some unexplored territories, right? Honestly, these swarm hosts, they've gotten a little bit of damage done, not a whole lot, but they've also forced out like 4 scans. If Erik wouldn't have lost this base over here earlier, I actually think he would have been in a fine position. Every scan could have been a mule. And it's a strange way of getting there, but... So after the roach opener, we had 2 infestors. And then we still had like 5.5 minutes swarm host. Maybe 6 minutes or so? With burrow. Pathogen glands coming up right now. That's the infestor energy upgrade. Hive also building. Here comes GuMiho, though. GuMiho has got an awful lot of stuff. 2-2 is a little bit behind. Sadly, he started up the +2 armor upgrade first as well, so this is all not perfect for Gumi, who's probably doing the worst thing that a StarCraft 2 player can do, and that is think while playing the game. StarCraft players suck at thinking while they're playing the game, man. They're all about executing, not so much about, yeah, trying to think while they're playing the game. This is a terrible situation to be in. Anyways, that base got cancelled. If GuMiho wants to continue fighting right now, he's gonna have to go deeper onto the creep. Okay. Good splits right there by the Terran player, although he does take some damage right there from the biles. Very nice fungal growth as well, though. It's just that the numbers aren't there. Yeah, and that's the problem you run into when you don't prioritize eco. When you don't have as much economy early on, like you would in a normal game of StarCraft 2, you end up with the age-old adage of more stuff beating less stuff. Okay, that was a really lovely fungal. Ooh, accidental jail right there for a couple of roaches that just popped out of their cocoons. The siege tank backbone right here for Gumi is absolutely fantastic. And I do think, in the end, GuMiho is gonna be 1 bridge too far. But that's also because GuMiho is ranked amongst the very best players on the planet. That was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed watching this series. If you made it all the way until the very end, make sure you hit that like button down below. And today I also want to give a special shout out to all of the Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for supporting my channel directly. For now though, have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to smile, and I'll see you once again tomorrow for another video.